Hi, and welcome to Get Curious with Kirsten, where we talk about the intersection of curiosity and leadership. Today, let's get curious about the best way to deliver feedback. This is fresh in my mind because I just presented a workshop on this very topic to a group of HR professionals last week. But first, let me share an example of the wrong way to deliver feedback. It was many years ago, and I was working on a team with some other folks. We were getting ready to present at a national conference. And as part of that team, we had divided up different tasks and areas of responsibility so each of us could be working on our own deliverables toward this big presentation. Well, there was this one person on the team, let's call her Heidi, who week after week came to our meetings unprepared. She had not done the work she said she was going to do. So after a few weeks of this, I got upset and said directly to her, "Hey, what's going on? Why aren't you able to follow through on your parts of the project?" Now, I can't remember exactly the words I used or the tone, but I will never forget how she responded. Her face turned red, she jumped up from the table and basically ran out of the room. And I really upset her because of how I had approached this accountability conversation. And I felt bad that I came across in a way that made her feel attacked rather than really trying to understand what was getting in the way from her doing her part. So if I had only used the framework that I'm about to share with you today, I really feel like that conversation would have been much more successful. So I'd like to introduce you to the SBI feedback model that was developed by the Center for Creative Leadership. SBI is an acronym in which S stands for situation, B is for behavior, and I is for impact. The situation is the where and when in which the behavior occurred, and you're giving that person context for the feedback you're about to give them. You might say something like, "In the team meeting on Wednesday," or "in your latest forecast report," so they understand the reference in which you're referring. Then we shift to behavior, and we want to call out the specific behavior that you want to give them feedback on. It's important to be clear and to be as specific as possible and objective. We don't want to make assumptions or judgments here. It's not helpful to say you were rude or unprofessional in a meeting because that really is a judgment. Instead, we want to get clear and express the behavior that led us to assume they were being rude or unprofessional. And then after we touch on behavior, we then want to shift to the impact. And we're going to talk here about the impact that their behavior had on you, your team, or others. I also find it's helpful to jot down some notes about the SBI in advance because we want to deliver the feedback in a succinct fashion, ideally 30 seconds or less. Because the more clear and concise you can be, the more effectively it will be heard and digested by the person you're delivering it to. So let's go through an example to illustrate how the SBI could actually roll out. So here's an example. In the client meeting with the Nike marketing team, I saw you sit back from the table, you had your arms crossed in front of you, and you interrupted the client 3 times while she was in the middle of speaking. As a result, the Nike rep said she didn't feel valued as a client and she's reconsidering whether or not she wants to work with our firm. So once you've delivered that feedback, and you'll notice it was pretty short what I just did there, it's important to then bring that other person into the discussion by asking open-ended questions that begin with what. So here are some examples. What is your perspective on this? What occurred from your point of view? Or what did you learn from this experience? As you can imagine, there's a lot more to touch on in this topic of feedback, but I hope that just by outlining this brief SBI framework, it will be helpful that for the next time you need to deliver feedback to someone in your world. And in addition, I'll put some additional resources in the comments below that you can check out. And as always, if you found this content today to be valuable, I encourage you to click the subscribe button below so you won't miss out on future videos. Until next time, stay curious.